I guess the discussion should start from yesterday, the meeting that happened between Raila Odinga and the Mount Kenya Foundation. One of the things that was trending online, and I'd like to begin it at that point, that William Ruto has been meeting voters. Raila Odinga met the people who count the votes. How does that sit with you?
Well, thank you, Ken, for having me here. In fact, it's a good moment for us to discuss what is happening around the mountain. That thing that there are voters and those who count votes is nonsense. Every vote is equal. The vote of a billionaire and the vote of Mama Mboga in a ballot when it's counted is one. And let me tell you, the electoral process is very transparent. When we changed our electoral process, that the counting is done at the polling station, we solved a lot of problems. Because there before, you would vote, and the votes will be carried in ballot boxes. And between the voting station and the counting hall, there was a lot of monkey business.
Okay.
Today, voting is done from 6 to 5. By 8 o'clock, the votes are done. And wananchi around there, by the way, and nobody can play around with it. I want to tell the people of Kenya, what you vote is what counts. The guys who count, they're just clerks. It's nothing.
Okay.
Anybody who is interested in leading this country, or who is interested in any position that you will get through the ballot, you talk to the voter.
Okay. But it shows, Mheshimiwa, the psyche of the Mwananchi, because it's not the first time those sentiments are expressed. Every election, Kenyans say they're the people who vote, but their vote doesn't count. It's the people who count the vote whose action counts. So it just shows the psyche of Kenyans.
I don't think so. You know, this thing has been brought about by people who don't accept results. You know, is where they say we voted, but the counting, something went wrong. But I can tell you,
the transmission actually, not the counting.
Even the transmission, I can tell you, when we started counting votes at the polling station, the electoral process in this country is, to a very large extent, very transparent, free and fair. And I can tell you, I want to assure the voters, their vote counts. And they should be prepared to vote. And depending on who has the majority of the votes, that is the person who will be announced as a winner.
Later, we'll be playing a soundbite from that meeting you had at the funeral. We'll be playing about, because there are a lot of things you said about that. We'll be playing it much, much later. But one more thing before we begin the discussion. Ezra Chiloba, former IBC CEO, has been appointed to the Communication Authority of Kenya. What do you make of that appointment? I mean, he's just about to take office, but there's a lot of discussion also around it.
Yeah, well, I've had that discussion, but I've not really put my mind to it. But obviously, people are concerned because he left IBC in very controversial circumstances. The Communications Authority of Kenya is an important component in the electoral process. And up to, you know, from the beginning up to the end. So there are those concerns. But I have been up country. I have not been able to put my mind to it. I need to read a little bit more and to listen a little bit more and come up with some thinking of what's happening.
Just the fact that he is one of the people who are accused of bungling the election, because he was right at the center of IBC in the 2017-2018 election when the commissioners left, and now you're saying the CAK is integral in any election, because these are the people who will be monitoring what's happening online and offline and mainstream, right?
Yes.
And he's appointed right there, and this period. Perhaps the question is about the timing to the next election, because he's been out for 3 years.
Yeah, I think those are the issues. I think Kenyans are quite justified to raise those concerns. But I'm here to listen to the pros and cons. But be as it may, the fact that he left in controversial circumstances, the timing of his appointment, the importance of the office and the authority he has been appointed to, raises questions.
Yeah. Let's begin our discussion now. You are regarded as a very wealthy man, and perhaps I will use the term tycoon. You were not there yesterday at Safari Park when the rest of the Mount Kenya tycoons and business people were meeting Raila Odinga. Well, and you're one of them. You're regarded as very wealthy.
I can tell you I'm a small fish.
Among them?
Compared to the guys who are in Safari Park. Those are guys who literally own this country.
Okay.
They own almost quarter of this country, you know, from banking, insurance, coffee brokerage, tea brokerage, you know, banks, real estate. And I am not part of the Mount Kenya Foundation.
Okay. By choice, or you have been excluded from it?
By choice.
Or by choice.
By
okay.
choice.
Yeah.
And Mount Kenya Foundation is a group of wealthy men from the Mount Kenya region.
Okay.
Who every election invests in a candidate to protect their wealth and their interests.
And the candidate they have invested in, say for 2002 election, usually carries the day. They invested in Mwai Kibaki in 2002. They invested heavily in
Let me tell you, in
Kenyatta.
2002 they invested both way.
Both way, okay.
Even in 2007. These are business people.
Okay.
And they don't really care about the Mount Kenya region or the country. They care about their wealth.
Okay.
And their interests. In 2002, I was personal assistant to President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
I can tell you, I can confirm here, quite a number of those people in the Mount Kenya Foundation invested in us.
Okay.
And they also invested in Mwai Kibaki. Even in 2007, when the election looked, it could go either way. Either way. They invested in Mwai Kibaki
and Raila Odinga.
Okay. These are business people.
It's always divided.
It's about business.
They don't have a common ground and say
no,
we
they have no common ground. It's about business interests.
Okay. How important is their investment to a candidate, especially for the region they represent? Because these are people who essentially run this economy. They employ hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. How important is their investment to a
In terms
candidate?
of votes, zero.
Zero.
They have,
it doesn't count.
They have no contact with the people. They don't know what goes on. These are people, if you ask them the cost of bread, they have no idea. If you ask them what is fair between Karatina and Nairobi, they have no idea. In terms of connection with the people, there is zero influence.
Okay.
In terms of money, a candidate needs money, they'll give you money.
All right.
And in terms of you need money for logistics, you need to hire musicians, you need to hire vehicles, you need to print posters, you need to do T-shirts. In terms of money, they'll give you money to assist you in a campaign. In terms of voter influence, zero.
Mahesh, you can't then dismiss their importance to the voter. Just the fact that they're bringing in the money alone influences the voter through the candidate. You can't then dismiss that in terms of the voters, it's zero.
I can tell you, I'm looking at the scenario in the Mount Kenya community now. They have zero influence. One, they are not in tune with what is happening in the mountain at all, absolutely.
Okay.
The mountain people right now are not interested in positions. They are interested in economic revival. They are interested in empowerment. They are interested in economic programs that are sustainable, that can change their lives. The people who are meeting yesterday are part and parcel of the problems being faced by the Mount Kenya people. Quite a number of them are in coffee brokerage. They are the people who exploit the farmers in the Mount Kenya region. Quite a number of them are in the insurance industry. You are aware that a lot of our people in the matatu industry, in the border industry, are in prison because when they get accidents and they have third-party insurance cover, the insurance companies owned by these people refuse to pay, and the courts gives judgment against them, and they are being auctioned, and if they fail, they are taken to prison.
Okay.
That group that was meeting there, to a large extent, has played a very big role in exploiting the people of the Mount Kenya region.
When did you realize that? Because in 2002 you said they were behind President Kenyatta and Mwai Kibaki. In 2007, when did you realize?
You can't stop a candidate getting money from anybody. In fact, if they wanted to give me money for the campaign, I don't have a problem.
Okay.
But you see, why they invest money is because they want to protect their wealth. They want to influence government policy in favor of their businesses, and they want to do business with the government. Okay? So when they met yesterday, purporting that they represent Mount Kenya interests, is a lie. It isn't. Yeah? They are there for individual business interest. Okay? And we are saying ourselves, we don't have a problem with the billionaires in the mountain endorsing Raila Odinga. It's their right, by the way. You know, the Constitution allows anybody to support whoever you want.
Okay.
But those are just few people, and they can go ahead and support him. They have no mandate. Nobody knows them. They don't know the issues in the mountain. They have not been there for the people of the mountain when they were needed. For example, when our goods were touched in Yamakema by Fred Matiang'i and the multi-agencies on the basis and the allegation that they are counterfeits, this Mount Kenya Group Foundation did not speak. When our people were evicted in a very brutal eviction in Ruai and Kariobangi, they did not speak. When our people have faced serious economic hardships, they have never spoken. As we speak now, we have a problem in Laikipia where bandits have descended on our people, yeah, and people are staying in church compounds. They have no food, they have no blankets. These Mount Kenya Foundation people, despite their immense wealth, have not found it necessary to meet and raise some funds to go and assist these people.
Okay.
When Corona struck, these are people, Ken, who have the capacity to give masks to each and every person in the Mount Kenya region every day.
I saw Dr. James Mwangi donate in Migori County, for example, when COVID struck.
I am saying about the mountain. These are extremely wealthy individuals.
So they're not actively involved in Mount Kenya.
They are just interested in investing money in the formation of government to protect their interests. But they really do not care about the Mount Kenya people.
There are a number of politicians in that group. There are a number of government workers who have been in that group. Kinyanjui, for example, Edin Joroge has worked for the government. He was there. The family of Nelson, I'm forgetting the other name. There are quite a number of people who have been in active politics, also active public service, right? Yes. And we have also a number of businessmen. Peter Munga, for example. You can't just say that these guys are not in touch with what's happening.
These guys are not in touch with what goes. I have told you, their sole motivation, and there is no other motivation, is to protect their wealth and to advance their business interests.
Okay.
And that is why they seek to invest heavily and actually seek to influence on the formation of a new government.
Okay. Let me take you back to the election that was disputed. And there was a lot of back and forth between Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta when Raila supporters hit the street. And then we had this team called the business community that predominantly and largely, they may be small, but the business community. This is a form, a smaller form of these people who are also protecting their interests. For example, in Nairobi, what is wrong with protecting your interest as a businessman?
There is nothing wrong with protecting interests. These Mount Kenya Foundation guys are right. They are spot on in protecting their wealth and advancing their business interests.
Okay.
But let them not pretend that they are doing it on behalf of the people of Mount Kenya, because they are not.
Are you dismissing the value they can bring, apart from monetary, the value in terms of what they can bring to Raila's candidature? Because one of the things that that group said is they demonize Raila Odinga. I'm sure when you're in the Uhuru campaign, and you are, I'm sure when you were campaigning for them, the sentiments that went around Raila Odinga at that time from that region, they painted Raila, he was their boogeyman in a nutshell. And right now they're saying, let's change these sentiments. Let's go down to the ground and tell people the real truth about Raila Odinga, that he's not as bad as we thought he was.
The Mount Kenya Foundation did not demonize Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga was demonized by President Uhuru Kenyatta. If anybody wants to undo the damage, it will have to be the president himself. And I told myself that the damage that he did to Raila Odinga, he cannot undo it in his lifetime. He's the one himself. Not once, not twice, and he also gave it to us, and we joined him in demonizing Raila Odinga for a very long time. And it is him who can attempt to undo that damage because it came from his mouth, okay? And we joined him in the chorus because we were working for him. But that does not change our perception.
Okay.
In my view, the president was right. He was
about Raila Odinga?
Yeah, he was spot on.
Okay.
If he has changed his mind, that's him. But ourselves, we have not changed our mind. The people of the mountain have not changed their mind.
But how do you, apart from Mazira, how do you purport to speak to the whole mountain? The people of the mount have not changed their mind. How do you know? Look at the kind of crowd that was there also. Apart from just the foundation, we had young people, we had people of middle age, we had investors also, we had prospective businessmen, we had government officials. How do you just condemn it blanketly that Mount Kenya has not changed the mind from what Uhuru Kenyatta and the rest of you said about
Well,
Raila
I
odinga?
don't know. I represent some people.
Yeah.
I have some mandate. I have come from Nyeri. I listen to people, and they have not changed their mind. And we are not saying they cannot change.
Yeah.
People still need to keep on talking to them. Those rallies you saw, Ken, I don't know for how long you have been around. Were you there in the 90s? In 1992, President Moi would hold big rallies at those ones.
Okay.
The mountain people are nice people, by the way. They are very civilized. And they are very calm people. They are not violent. They are not disrespectful. They are not vulgar. They listen to anybody who wants to talk to them. And that is why Raila Odinga was listened to by many people. They wanted to listen to him. President Moi would come. I used to serve in that government myself. We would accompany him. He would address serious meetings and go away. On the voting day, nothing. Zero. In 1997, he was around for 5 years, between 92 and 97, and he did a lot of work, by the way. He was always in the mountain. He would have many delegations. Even when we went to State House, in the waiting room, half the people are from the mountain. Zero
votes.
This same group that was in Safari Park yesterday had a group called Central Kenya Development Support Group. They were protecting their business interests once more, and they were with Moi.
Okay.
And they changed nothing. Okay? So what happened, I can see there's a lot of excitement about those crowds, and it is as it should be. Our people, and we told them, and we continue to tell them. And even if we did not tell them, they know. We are good people. We are not violent. We don't stone people. We don't block roads. We don't abuse people. We listen to visitors.
Okay.
And Raila came and he spoke to them and he went away.
Okay.
That does not mean that anything
They
has
heard
changed.
what he said.
No, they had.
I'm going to get into that.
Yeah, they listened.
They heard what they said.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I've told you the people were at Safari Park. They were there for their own interests.
Okay. This group of people, according to you, cannot deliver to Raila Odinga because they don't have the ground, let me call it the ground influence. You, on the other hand, you're one of the people who have gone around with Deputy President William Ruto for a long time, plus a number of Ndindi Nyoro, Ishungwa, plus a number of leaders from that region, friends on that population. You, on the other hand, believe that you have what it takes to get voters behind Deputy President William Ruto, as opposed to this group that finances, that make policy, influence government policies. You believe it's possible on the other side?
We have no capacity to get any votes for Deputy President William Ruto. William Ruto is a very practical politician.
You have no capacity?
We have no capacity.
Okay.
William Ruto is a very practical politician. He goes to the people himself. And that's what our people have. See, like where Raila Odinga has gone, that is right. He should have done that a long time ago instead of waiting for Uhuru Kenyatta or waiting for these guys from the Mount Kenya Foundation. They will deliver nothing to him. William Ruto has been to the mountain countless times. He spends a lot of time with people down there, and they like it because he has time. He has a listening ear. He takes time to talk to people. And our people like being talked to. They like being listened to. And the kind of support William Ruto is having in the mountain is his own effort and his own style and strategy of engaging the people directly. You know, the age we are, Ken, is not the age of where you can hand over people to somebody. I myself am a friend of Uhuru Kenyatta. I have been his personal assistant for 6 years. I have voted him for 4 times. I have supported him for 20 years. I am loyal to him. I have been one of his greatest admirers. But he cannot hand me over to anybody. I have my own mind.
It's your choice.
He can't.
Whoever you want to
He can't.
vote
And it's
for.
not just me.
Yeah.
The people of the mountain are not people you can transfer their loyalty from you to somebody else. You can't. You would have to come and engage them directly. And that's where William Ruto has scored. He's been there for the last 9 years. After 2013, He came to the mountain, helping President Uhuru Kenyatta to run the country, to open projects, and he engaged the people directly. Along the way, people started liking him. The liking developed into serious love and compassion. And with the time, he became a household name. He has continued with that engagement. At his current residence, every day, he is engaging 500 people on one-to-one. And he allows them to speak and listens to them and answers their questions. That is what our people like. The meeting at the Mount Kenya Foundation was a meeting for billionaires, for the rich, for the wealthy. If you came there with not a V8 or a Mercedes 300, I don't think you would have got an entry. That's why even myself, I have some little money. I don't think I would have gotten admission.
Really?
They were serious. They were serious guys.
I wasn't there, but I bet there are people who went with lesser cars and there was still.
I don't think so.
We saw so many young people there.
Even those ones, if they came in, I don't think they were allowed to say anything.
Or to say anything to speak.
I don't think for you to participate in that meeting, you will be worth less than 3, 4, 5 billion.
You've told me
to
something.
Be able to be allowed even to speak in that meeting.
You've told me something very
table.
interesting.
Yeah.
That William Ruto has the capacity to get his own votes. You don't have to give him votes.
No, we don't.
You don't have to hand over. Meaning, all these leaders from the Mount Kenya region that are supporting William Ruto for presidency next year, you're all dispensable because William Ruto does not need you because he knows you cannot get him votes.
In fact, the truth of the matter.
Yes.
I need William Ruto more than he needs me. That's the truth. Today.
So all the Mount Kenya leaders, they bring nothing.
Today, I want to talk about myself.
Yes.
I have very clear instructions from the people of Madeira. Abandon William Ruto, you are done. We are through with you. That is why even when I've been intimidated, I have been taken through hell. I've been persecuted. I've been arrested. My accounts have been frozen. I've been called to meetings. I've been threatened. You know, I've been sent thugs to attack me. But listening to the people of Madeira, I will be committing political suicide to abandon William Ruto. William Ruto is a movement in the mountain. I need him more than he needs me.
Okay.
My popularity in the mountain is based on the Hustler Nation. I am popular in the mountain because I support William Ruto and I stand by him. And people love me because of that. If today I change my mind, and I left and went to join Raila Odinga, that will be the end of my political career. That is the truth.
Okay.
I don't know about other people. I'm saying about myself. Okay. But I know other people, my friends. We are all in agreement that the mood in the mountain now is that William Ruto has an economic program.
Okay.
An economic model that the people of the mountain associate with. They also are happy to relate with him because he is inspiring. When they look at his background, where he has come from selling chicken at the roadside, rising all the way as an MP, as a minister to deputy president, and God willing to be president, they like that because they are down. And they can see that working hard with the right environment, praying to God, one day you can be somebody. So William Ruto inspires millions of hustlers, millions of Kenyans who think that it is possible. Just like William Ruto has risen from down there to deputy president, it is also possible for them to rise in the same manner. And therefore, he inspires millions of Kenyans.
Okay, very interesting. And a lot of Kenyans, when we posted this on social media, they had also their own reaction in terms of that meeting. We'll not go to the reactions, but I want to play a soundbite. Today you were at Mukuruini, right? Yes. At a funeral. And this is part of what you said, and there were so many other speakers. Then I'll come back to the discussion.
Waulize mtu ya kitendawili, atuhakikishie kabisa, hata kama ataandika, ya kwamba tukipiga uchaguzi akishindwa na William Ruto atakubali. Namba 2, hata lete furugu na hata anza maandamano na kuharibu mali ya wananchi. Pia atuhakikishie hata enda Uhuru Park kujiapisha. Pia huyu mtu ya kitendawili atuhakikishie ya kwamba hata lete fujo ndio afanye handshake na huyu William Ruto.
Check it. Let's talk about banking. Or let's talk about dreams and goals. Your dreams, your goals. If you're like Louise.
We look at the vocational training institutes. A lot of times, even when people apply or youth apply to go there, it's because it's the last resort. I wasn't able to go into a higher formal institution, or my parents can't afford it. So it's not a place where youth are saying, I am very passionate about doing this because I feel it's an opportunity for me. So we have to change the way we view agriculture, and also see that agriculture can also produce opportunity for young people.
Okay.
Once youth see that transition, you will not even need to advertise for youth to enter agriculture. They will come on their own. And also, I agree on Prof's point in terms of youth looking for opportunity. But this country is not very conducive toward small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and young entrepreneurs. It is a struggle. The number of youth who even struggle with, say, the paperwork required and the costs of it, or the taxes to even have that business, it clamps your company before it can even continue to exist. And a lot of them do not last more than 3 years. After 3 years, they're done and dusted. And so if we could focus on, sure, blue economy, agriculture, because a lot of countries are looking internally in terms of specialization, but we also have to remember that this administration was focusing on housing. We've talked about the high cost of living, and one of them is housing. Youth right now, talking about land, owning land, buying a house, building a house is not even part of conversation right now. We cannot. You cannot afford it. But with this administration, they talked about housing. What happened to that? They managed to do some, but not as many as we anticipated beginning with their term 10 years ago. And number two, they talked about manufacturing. What happened to that? The president had a whole idea of having civil servants wearing Kenyan-owned, Kenyan-made fabric on particular days, which is
Buy
Friday.
Kenya, build Kenya.
Yes. But then what has happened with that? Even when we talk about implementation, the culture to want to support Kenyan-owned businesses is still far behind. And when you even see youth who are in agriculture, a lot of them complain about how there are certain policies that prop up. All of a sudden you need a license to start bee farming. All of a sudden you need a license to grow grass to be able to feed your cows. All of a sudden it's cheaper to grow onions in Tanzania, and I get my eggs from Uganda. And so we have to look at how can we improve the business environment for young people. It will be important because we're looking at integration. We haven't talked about the free trade, Africa Free Trade Area that is now in place, and youth being able to see opportunities in areas like Rwanda, Kigali, that we've talked about, and the fact that now that exchange will come into place, and it will also change the conversation on currency. And how we trade and what we're trading.
Okay. And Dr. Baraza, in hindsight, what is missing when it comes to youth empowerment initiatives? Because some of them have been there, but they've collapsed on their faces. Or is it that the uptake has not been there? In your view, what is missing when it comes to youth empowerment?
I think what is missing is seriousness in following those programs through, in implementation. I know there are programs, there are funds, we hear of funds, youth funds, but I think implementation is not good. Nerima has touched on a very important issue. Youth try to do things, to farm, for example, or to rear chicken, for example, but they have no market. And the reason is we, the powerful, occupy that space, okay? We deprive them of
choices, imprudent development choices. This large infrastructure development, eating up all the money, financed by costly debt, with corruption written in there, conflict of interest, real mismanagement of the economy by the Jubilee administration. Because of that, we are in this economic crisis. But even then, if you listen to the Parliamentary Budget Office, they were looking at the economy and saying majority of people are employed in the agricultural sector, over 50% of Kenyans. This, even during COVID, it was the steadiest contributor to our GDP because you're talking about the backbone of our economy. Yet, our investments are in places where people aren't employed, where the large infrastructure employs very few people. So yes, it has to be agriculture. And this is why